Hey, this video is likely to get me in trouble with some of my peers in the real estate industry, but part of my job is to help educate you, my clients, and my followers. And so that's what I'm here to do. Recently, you may be hearing in the news about corporations buying up large percentages of homes in every market. That is a reality in our local market. I want to talk to you about an article that just came out that gives some details on that. And I want to talk to you about what it means to you and what you should do about it. So let's take a look. This article just was recently published by Fortune magazine, and I took it, copied it, and pasted onto a Google document just so I could highlight some things that I wanted to show you. But investors, including Wall Street, helped to drive up home prices during the pandemic housing boom. Here's the proof. We're not going to spend a lot of time talking about the proof, but I want you to understand the why, the what, and then what you should do. And so here you go. You've got, you may even experience this or know someone who has. You got phone calls, text messages, postcards, letters, and even the occasional door knock of people coming to you and saying, are you interested in selling your home? Even when you've given no indication that you are interested. Some people who have sold houses or bought houses get postcards in the mail with a picture of your house on it saying, are you interested in selling? What is that all about? Well, that is the rise of company/corporate buyers coming in and buying a large chunk of properties to take advantage of the rising real estate prices and the real estate boom that we've had over the last couple of years. So let me just show you what Lance Lambert, the author of this article, has to say. So we've got groups that some household names that you may have heard of, like Blackstone, it's a large corporation, Open Door Technologies, places like Zillow. Again, those are iBuyers or corporate buyers are coming in and they want to buy your property. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that. Let me just share some data that Lance Lambert shares. In the first quarter of 2022, investors made up a record 28% of single family home sales, 28%. It's almost a third of purchases were made by corporations. Why should you care? Well, like the title of the article indicates, that is driving up home values, which is good if you're the homeowner, a little bit tougher if you're the buyer. Other parts in this article, he talks about how some buyers have gotten squeezed out because they've been competing against these corporate buyers. Here's some more specifics. In the first quarter of 2022, investors made up a staggering 33.1% of home sales in Atlanta, 32.3% in Jacksonville, 32.3% in Charlotte, 29% in Phoenix, and 28% in Miami. Guys, these are large percentages for the home buyers. Those have increased. Now here's a chart they put in that I love. Shows a number of cities. Doesn't show Louisville or the southern Indiana area, but let me show you a couple of the Midwest. We've got Nashville, Tennessee went from 17.3% to 24.6%. The number of corporate buyers, and this is from Q1 of 2021 to Q1 of 2022. So that's a year's time frame. We've seen that much rise in percentage. Columbus, Ohio, 15.8 to 22.8. Couple more here to give you an idea. Cincinnati, Ohio is probably the closest to us. They went from 16.4 to 19.3. And then we've got Chicago, 10.7 to 13.2. They didn't have much of a rise, but a rise nonetheless. Folks, Louisville, Kentucky is not on this chart. Southern Indiana is not on this chart, but I can tell you from experience as a realtor, we've seen an uptick in the number of corporations that have been buying houses as opposed to people who are going to buy it and live in it. Now, let's be clear. Lance says the vast majority of investor home purchase in America are still made by small or mid-size investors. So I mentioned some companies at the top, large companies, they are buying. It was announced 2 weeks ago that one of these companies bought an entire 200 home subdivision in Florida. So they are for sure buying. A lot of it is still mom and pop buyers, that people that own less than 100 properties. But the key is they're all playing by a very similar playbook. So here's the why you should care. If you or someone you know gets contacted by one of the iBuyers, whether it's a corporate or a small mom and pop, the playbook is this: they're going to try and negotiate the lowest price that they can get you to, kind of your breaking point of selling it. They'll use that as their opportunity to buy, and then they'll make their margin, their profit on the back end if they sell, or certainly it's going to give them a better opportunity to make money when they rent. With iBuyers, a lot of the iBuyers like Zillow, which we'll talk about, they're going to come in maybe a little bit lower than market price. They'll talk to you about, hey, we can cut some of the hassle out of it, make it easier for you to sell. We'll give you close to the price that the market would bear. But then typically they're going to try and make up a little bit of margin when it comes to repairs. They'll send somebody out to do an inspection. They'll come up with a list of repairs. They'll try and use those to negotiate that sales price down even further. If you run into a wholesaler, which makes up a lot of our local mom and pops, they are going to try and negotiate again, get you to your breaking point, the absolute bottom dollar that you'd willing to accept for the property. Then they will turn around and put under contract a different investor and charge them more, $5, $10, $15, $20,000, sometimes more on top of what they got you to agree. And that's where they make their profit. Another investor comes in, buys it for more money, and then they go and do whatever it is they're going to do with it on the back end. Again, why should you care? If you get an offer from an iBuyer, from a wholesaler, from one of these corporations, use that as a starting point. Come to a realtor, contact the 812 Living Group. We'd love to come visit your property and tell you what we think it would sell for on the open market. Instead of having one buyer, one professional buyer, one corporate buyer who's looking to get it for the cheapest amount possible, let us expose it to the market for you. You can always go back to that lower offer if you choose to, but generally speaking, we should be able to get you a higher price in the open market as we market it to the entire marketplace of buyers that may be interested in a property just like yours. I want to show you one last thing to highlight this point. Zillow's quarterly revenue. Now, Zillow has actually gotten out of the home buying game, but this chart shows their percentage of revenue from their different businesses. Homes, Zillow offer is blue. That is where they're going out and buying properties on the open market. They're trying to buy it, and then they're going to take it and rent it or flip it. And so you can see, starting in 2019, that's when they really started ramping up their iBuyer program, their Zillow offers program. And in 2021, it really took off. So at the end, Q1 2022, this made up the majority of their revenues. They are out there making calls. The other iBuyers, other wholesalers are out there making calls, robo-dialers, sending postcards, sending letters, sometimes knocking on your doors. They want your property, and generally they're going to try and get it for the cheapest possible price that they can, so they can make a profit on the back end. Let's keep that money, that profit, in your pocket. If you get a call from one of these corporate buyers, company buyers, where they identify themselves as an iBuyer, a wholesaler, or just a company buying property, an investor buying properties, give us a call. Use that offer that you get from them as a starting point. We'd love to come out and tell you what we think your house would sell for in the open market, help you expose it to more buyers. More buyers generally means more competition. But again, if you get a call, call us or email us at 812living@gmail.com. We'd love to come out, give you a second opinion on what your home's worth.